Yes, as Christiana was just saying, I've lost 80 kilograms over 2 years and 10 months. And yeah, obviously I don't want to pick up that 80 kilogram again, but one of my biggest fears is to pick up that 80 kilograms again. But I don't want to live in that fear of picking it up either. And why not? Because some people say fear is good because it can prevent you or help you or keep you on the right path. But I want to live. I don't want to. The fear of picking that weight up again causes me to weigh myself each day, or it causes me to overanalyze every single bite of food that I eat. Christiana has been talking about a lot about mindfulness this week and mindful eating. And I can take mindful eating to the extreme. I can be so mindful of what I eat that I actually do not enjoy eating anymore. So, over the lockdown last year, I started working with a therapist. And one of the things that I wanted us to work on was this fear of regaining. The first time we talked about it, he said, but the solution to freeing myself from this fear is so simple. I simply have to understand what it was that caused me to pick up the weight in the first place. And if I can understand that, then I will realize that I'm not that person that picked up that 80 kilogram anymore. And then I will have no fear of gaining it. But I told him that I have always been overweight. And whenever I manage to lose a little bit, I will gain it back again. I was an overweight child. Both my parents were overweight. So I've literally been overweight my entire life. And then he said, well, if that is the case, then I need to figure out what are the emotions that cause me to compulsively eat. And I was quite offended by that because I don't see myself as someone that sits in the corner and cries and wolfs down chocolates and ice cream. And I didn't see myself as an emotional eater. So I asked him, I told him that it's not my emotions that causes me to eat. I'm not an emotional eater. But he said, you cannot, as a logical human being, claiming to be in emotional control, decide to just start compulsively eating and thus sabotaging yourself and your weight loss or your maintenance efforts. The problem has to be with your emotions. So let's try to list those emotions that get you to the point where you might as well just eat. So, of course, what my therapist was busy talking about was emotional eating. And um, I was never keen on this idea of drawing up a list of my emotions. But now that I think back of it, having been through this entire therapy journey, the goal was never actually to get to an ultimate list. The aim was to become more introspective and more aware of what I'm actually doing. Emotional eating is a reaction. It's a reaction just like getting angry or screaming or crying. Um, it's a reaction. A reaction occurs because it's triggered, and triggers are what we need to work on. Now, the clearest example I had of emotional eating one particular Thursday, something my husband's employer started doing over the lockdown to boost our company morale, or their company morale rather, was to host online cook-along sessions. And this particular Thursday was going to be our first time joining. We were going to cook a beef Wellington with fondant potatoes, parsnip puree, and a red wine jus. We had purchased all our ingredients for this cook along, and as I always do, and because it's my responsibility during the week to prepare our family meals, I prep everything for our meal the morning before I start my workday. So it's normally I eat breakfast and then I do the prep for the meal, and then I come and sit at my desk, and to work. Um, so this morning I put out all the ingredients that we'll need for that evening, took out whatever needed to be taken out from the fridge, and had it all ready. And as I came to sit at my desk to start working, we started getting notifications of load shedding, just as we got this
Oh
morning
no.
again. Um, and yeah, so in that, with all those notifications that started bringing, I started panicking. Our electricity was going to be off that evening, and what was I supposed to make for supper now? I didn't have a plan B. I only had this plan A, and if I were to use that ingredients that we've already purchased that was sitting on my kitchen counter, um, the next day, what was I going to make with them? I had no idea how to make any of the dishes that we were planning to do that evening. And when I looked at that ESP app, the part that says check your schedule, plan your day, I thought of a few appropriate swear words that I should probably not mention during an online talk. But I mean, seriously, I already had my day planned. So in the uncertainty of that moment, I got up from this desk chair, as if driven by some external force, and I walked to my kitchen with the sole purpose of looking for something to eat. I just had breakfast. I wasn't hungry. There was no logical reason for me to want to eat anything at that stage. And yet, there I was standing looking for something to eat. And as I was standing there, I realized that my therapist was right. He normally is. I just used to argue with him at times to make myself feel better, but I am an emotional eater. And ever since that realization, more and more things have started falling into place for me. I realized that feeling out of control is a big emotional trigger for me. When I start to feel out of control or overwhelmed or just very unsure, then I try to comfort myself or go to a happy place by eating. And through a lot of introspection, I've come to realize that feeling out of control is not my only emotional trigger either. For example, rejection is another big emotional trigger for me, and there's actually been quite a few that we needed to address. About a decade ago, I read a story of an upset husband's outburst towards his overweight wife. What he told her he couldn't understand why it was so difficult for her to lose weight. According to him, dieting is simple maths. So calories in should be less than calories out. And if she does that, then she should be able to lose weight. Having spent most of my life, remember I was an overweight child, so having spent most of my life as a morbidly obese person, stories like these really tug at my heartstrings. Not that my own husband ever said that to me. If there was a picture in the dictionary next to unconditional love, it would definitely be a photo of my husband. He never once told me that I need to lose weight, and I was 80 kilograms, more than 80 kilograms overweight. No, instead, he always told me how beautiful I was and how much he loved me. All four of our kids, I'm a mom of four, yes, all four of our kids were born in my very overweight years. He supported me whenever I wanted to try a new diet. And when I felt like I didn't want to diet anymore, that was also fine. He made me feel beautiful and loved, even when the rest of the world didn't make me feel that way. And he bought me my beautiful flowers that's here in the back today. But stories like the one above they tug at my heartstrings because they feed the stereotype of overweight people being viewed as dumb and lazy. So why can fat people just not figure it out? If it's a simple equation as calories in should be less than calories out, then why is obesity such a major problem? If it's such a simple thing to solve. Recently, I asked on my page what topics people would like me to talk about for a next live video. I normally just do these live videos myself, not like when Christiane asks me to, but when I feel inspired and I have something that presses on my heart, then I normally do a live video. But I was interested to find out what the need was out there. One of the suggestions was to talk about intuitive eating. And the person who suggested it said that intuition is the answer to all our weight loss problems. So if we can really tune in and listen to what our bodies need and mindfully eat, then we will never struggle with our weight. And I absolutely agree with that. Um, Yet, I don't think intuition is a topic that I would spend a whole live video ever talking about. And the reason for that is when I was overweight, somebody telling me to follow my intuition or just to mindfully eat is the same as someone telling me that weight loss is a simple equation: burn more than what you consume. And I don't want to be that somebody to anybody else. The reality of the situation is this: though people are supposed to have a natural intuition of what and how much and when to eat in order to sustain a healthy life, for some people it appears that that intuition has just gone missing. A better metaphor to compare it to now is probably my professional intuition as a software engineer. Because I've been coding for more than 20 years already, I intuitively know what coding algorithms, methodologies, or design patterns to use and which not to. But a new developer that I'm busy mentoring will not know that. So me telling him to follow his intuition is not being very helpful.
Mm-mm.
It is something that comes from years of experience and not something that can be taught. And the same goes for eating. Some people generally do not know what healthy eating is and which foods their bodies need or how to balance a meal. They aren't even sure what the difference is between hunger and just a craving. Eating intuitively is a skill that needs to be practiced, which is why I love eating programs that give you options from all the food groups and don't tell you how to supplement with shakes or tablets or things like that. Being born into an obese family myself, I was never taught how to eat properly. It took me years to figure out um, what do I need to eat to lose weight, and even that knowledge didn't stop me from yo-yo dieting time and again. I was a serial, I may be even still a serial yo-yo dieter. I hope not, but although although forming these healthy eating and exercising habits helped, it was my emotional health that I needed to work on in order to sustain my weight loss. I've been on my goal weight now for just more than a year, for about a year and 2 months now. So for someone like myself that did the work, that lost the weight, that know how to eat, can still find themselves standing in the kitchen by the kitchen island one day looking for something to eat when they know that they are not hungry. And if that can happen to me, imagine what these emotional issues can do to someone that don't doesn't have the correct knowledge and that perhaps also struggling that's already struggling
Mm.
with their weight. In my life, I have found emotional issues cause me to feel that I'm wrong and shameful, and that I will always be wrong and shameful, and I will never be worthy of happiness or of being thin. And if that is the case, then I might as well just stop trying to follow any diet. It took purposeful mining of my soul to get to my emotional problems' roots and to expose them in order to pull them out. And after years of not loving myself, I'm still actively working at my own feelings of worthlessness and in not seeking constant approval or measuring myself against others' approval or opinions. Well, just before I talk to you, Christiane and I were talking about, this week I submitted a little bit of my book for a pitch to a publisher. And I was saying, just after I submitted it, I downloaded the publisher whom I submitted it to. I downloaded one of her books to start reading, and immediately, as I started reading her book, I immediately thought, no, I shouldn't have sent that pitch to her. She's definitely going to decline it because her book is amazing. Her book is fantastic, and I'm still doing that. I'm still measuring myself against others' work and others' approval and others' opinion. It's a constant battle to stop doing that. the thing at the end of the day is healthy eating and exercising are acts of self-love. And if you love yourself, and if you learn to really take care of yourself, then ultimately that will be the consequence. That self-love will cause you to want to eat healthily and to exercise. Yeah, Christiane, maybe you would like to ask me some questions if you.
Yeah, and that's thank you for your talk. It was absolutely wonderful, and I couldn't agree with you more about loving yourself and creating self-esteem and self-confidence, which is actually bringing you to into a state where you are actually can look in the mirror and say, "I love that person who I'm seeing," and then it's just a lot of things are falling into place. And when I have my clients, that's exactly what we're working on, so that you are really unconditionally love yourself. And I always say, and love yourself as much as you would love your soulmate. And if you can do that, then you've gone a long step further. And but you also have to do a lot of work how to get to that point. So I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, what's so sad for me always is I also get people that contact me. I'm not a no, I'm not a professional coach or anything, but I do get people that reach out to me and will need help to start their weight loss journey or their um, their own journeys.
Mm,
And people always they want me to tell them how to lose weight. They want me to give them a diet or they want me to give them an exercise program. And if I come with this message that you first need to realize that you need to do this for yourself, and
mm,
it's worth, it's you can't do it for your husband and you can't do it for other reasons. You need to love yourself enough to want to do this.
yeah,
No, they're like no, they just want a diet. They just want
yeah.
to
See,
and that's tricky.
there's
People still have this mindset of body, body, body. I need to fix my body. And they don't think I need to fix my soul. I need to fix my emotions. I need to work on my triggers. Um, yeah.
yeah, I'm actually also very careful with the word fixing because always in one of my relationship I got sent off to a psychologist to be fixed so that I would be nice and able to be in a relationship. We don't need to be fixed. None of us need to be fixed, but we need to work constantly on ourselves to grow and to move forward because it's only upon us what we make out of ourselves. Nobody else can do that for us. And asking you for a diet for somebody, or I have that too. Can you give me a meal plan? And then I'm going on a summer holiday and I want to look beautiful by that stage. It is not about that. I can give you 10 meal plans. If you don't really, with your heart and soul in it and working on yourself and on your mindset and on your confidence and doing the inner work yourself, you won't permanently get there because you always slip back into that comfort state of that overweight being however much it is. And is this the same scenario for 2 kilos or as it is for 80 kilos or 100 kilos? If you don't believe in yourself and if you don't trust yourself, then you won't lose it. But but what I wanted to ask you actually, and I think that might be interesting, do you cook different meals for yourself and for your family?
No, I cook one meal. So my whole the way I work with my kids is they they get the meal that I've prepared for them. If they don't have to eat any of that food. They not I don't expect them to eat their meal. But if they don't eat their meal, then there's not going to be snacks and things and other. I'm not going to make them something else. No, their next meal is the next meal.
Hmm.
And I also say if there's, for example, dessert on the day, then they can still have dessert even if they didn't have any of their meal. So I don't encourage food as a reward. I don't say you can have your dessert when you finished your vegetables, for example. So yeah, I cook one meal. They don't have to eat it, but they don't get other food until the next meal.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense, and that's actually where we're coming back to this food as a reward, isn't it? I mean, I remember as a child from with my grandparents, food is always a reward. Even you know, you get ice cream because you've been a good child, or we're going later out for ice cream, or the movie's telling you you have to bury yourself in 2 liters of ice cream because something sad is, and you're not on and buy 2 pizzas afterwards, just because you are sad and you are therefore allowed to do this. But at the same time, you're going to the dentist and you're getting, which I think is ironically in itself, you're going to get a sucker afterwards as a reward.
Mm,
And so society is actually conditioning our children already that
mm,
sweets are a reward. And our bodies actually see sweets and sugar as a reward in the first place because it's a very easy, quick fix. It's your eyes. The first time you eat sugar, your dopamine levels are going up. The next time, your body knows already that your dopamine levels are going up. So you just have to look at the stuff, and your dopamine levels are already getting up. Now you're eating it, and they're going up. So it is actually, and they say sugar is a higher, um, the higher rate of addicted to it than actually heroin itself, and
mm.
also because it's so easily available.
Exactly.
And
And that's where all my problems started. Because I became addicted to food. And I
yeah,
became addicted to food from as a child already,
yeah,
as a young child already.
yeah.
Me, even before I went to school, I was already addicted to food. I did a whole talk a few weeks ago on how I see fat passed down generations. And it's basically, it boils down to, well, this is how I see it, okay? And this is what happened in my life is that we put so much emphasis on food as pleasure. We say food is love, food is joy, food is pleasure, food is community. And it's
Mm,
not the healthy type of foods. It's normally your cakes and your pastries and all your sugary treats. And we along with that, we neglect the proper food education. For example, in the evenings when we eat, I tell my kids butternut gives you extra fiber and tomatoes has vitamin C, and and I tell them this is what this is the benefit of it for your body. So I try to tell them what benefits they're getting from the vegetables and the meat and the other types of food that they eat, and not just encouraging the sugar and the nice parts.
yeah,
And then along with that, and so along with the improper food education, and then the messages we give regarding sugary foods and things, then we bring in factors like shaming them almost, or there's a yeah I've talked quite a bit about it on my live video, but yeah, like we'll reprimand them or get them to a state where they feel shameful or hurt, and then they search. The only thing kids can almost use to numb their pain is food.
mm,
There's no other things available to them, and there's no drugs or cigarettes or something, alcohol that I can use. So a kid that is prone, a child that is prone to that, will reach out for the packet of cookies or the packet of chips or the ice cream that's in the fridge. They will make a plan. That's what I did.
yeah.
When I was
Me
little.
too. Me very
Yeah.
much. Me too. I used to do my homework, and with a packet of sweet next to me, and but it was triggered basically by my grandmother already when I was a tiny tot.
Mm,
It's like that's, and the more you, it was almost then also a different generation, because now we're going into something totally different, because that comes also into it, where the mindset of that generation comes from the pre-war, where there was nothing. So now a sudden overload of food is almost regarded as being wealthy, and having the capacity to feed loads of people. And I see that as my mum also, who can stand for hours in the kitchen, prepare the huge amount of food, and I enjoy it too, and so on. But then it's it's more than necessary. It's
Yes.
it, and so that's probably also a generational problem at that stage. We didn't have it, but now we have it, and you will certainly eat it all up, because other people, I mean, can't even count up on my hands anymore how many times I heard as a child, you will eat it up, because there are plenty of children who have no food.
Mm. I try to not do that with my kids now, but that also boils down to the food as pleasure message, because on the days that there were maybe a birthday or a celebration, I think there was so much food, then
Mm.
all the messages that get onto that is like we're having fun, and it's our grandparents came to visit, and there's it's a fun day. It's food is associated with pleasure, and
Yeah,
yeah, and then if you feel lonely or down or things, then reaching out to something that you might have eaten on days like that will numb those feelings.
yeah,
um,
you know already, your brain knows already that what the reaction will be if I eat that food, and also associating that behavior, that feeling, what you got on that day, that is stored in your brain. So you're trying to get that feeling back. And so on the other side, we think, okay, there's nothing wrong with having a big breakfast, or going for a celebration with your friends and have some cake, and really make a good time out of it. But what I think that the problem is that we're always pulling it down. How we actually shaming ourselves for going for a big breakfast, or going and have a huge slice of cake, or something like this. And sorry.
Yeah, yeah. My friend once said the only thing that's shame over a piece of chocolate cake is going to bring you is more chocolate cake. If you're going to feel so bad about having that piece of chocolate cake, ultimately you're going to feel like, oh, I
I
might
might
as well
as
just
well
have
eat
more
the
cake.
rest. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I can anyway not get this right. So
Yeah. And that's exactly, I can so associate with that feeling. It's like, for example, I have a bar of chocolate, and my dietitian always used to say to me, can't you just eat one piece of chocolate? No, I can't eat one piece of chocolate. I will eat the
have to
whole
have
bar. And and speed of lightning. I mean, I probably get into the Guinness Book of Records, because I'm probably the fastest how I can eat a slab of chocolate. And if there would be another one in the house, I would find that too, because um, we make ourselves feel guilty about it, so that I can eat that too. So what about if we turn that around and actually enjoy the get-togethers about food and everything like this? Today we're going to go out and we're going to have a cake. I really look forward to this cake, or whatever. It doesn't even have to be cake. We're going up for a big brunch or something like this. Then it's all what's associating. It's the whole ambience of the restaurants, or the person we're going to, the table setting. It's not only about the food. It's the conversations, the whole psychologically get together, the interactions between the people. That all together makes the moment, not just the food. And I think if we can learn that, then we also don't have to feel guilty about when that happened, and and then we can carry on with our next meal normally again, and not say, okay, and I have to eat for the next 3 days celery and carrots and lettuce leaves. because I ate too much there. We have to
Well,
normalize the situation.
the problem is not in the occasions that we celebrate, on the
Yeah,
odd occasions that we celebrate. And I wish more people would understand that. It is, if you want to go and celebrate, you shouldn't deprive yourself from that.
exactly.
You should go out and celebrate and enjoy. The problem comes in when you get back to your normal routine and then and either you think, oh, I've fallen off the wagon, now I might as well quit.
Yeah,
Okay, that's where the problem comes in. Or if, like in your normal day-to-day life, you looking for food to numb your emotions. That's where I say, yes, last time I ate this cake, it felt so good. Or last time I ate this, and now I'm so sad. I just don't want to feel sad anymore. So I'm gonna, if you're using unhealthy ways, unhealthy coping mechanism to deal with your emotional triggers, that's
yeah,
where the problems are. It's not on the odd occasion that you go out and you celebrate.
yeah.
um, yeah. So if you want to
That's very
celebrate,
true.
enjoy it, and make. But in your normal day-to-day life, try not to pull in those unhealthy triggers, and try not become despondent and just want to quit because you celebrate it. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's the
I think also just to get it to a closure, I think, and that's what you said at the beginning, also is the emotions are, you have to be aware of your triggers. You have to work on yourself
yes.
because otherwise you're not going into the kitchen and thinking, oh, I feel overwhelmed now and I can't cope with that. And that's why I'm going to do. You're going as an automatic behavior into your kitchen. It's a habit you created. And the only way to create that habit by actually learning what your triggers are, working on them, and that's not a quick fix. And then normalize the situation for you, and that is only right for you. It doesn't have to be right for anybody else.
Yeah, it's incredible, and that's why I think the help of a professional like a therapist comes in greatly. But my case was probably also, I took on so much from my mom, and from yeah, it's just all my emotional triggers just needed help and needed to be worked,
Yeah,
and that was very specific. It was very specific to my case. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, heads up to you that you actually went to see a therapist and decided to work with somebody. And I always congratulate my clients when they come to me and and want to have the courage, because it takes courage to dig deeper and say, I need help to lose weight. And I always say to them, be aware that we're going to dig deeper, because the answers are all within you, but I have to write the answer. I have to ask the right questions to get you to the place where you can answer those questions and can look with confidence at yourself.
yeah. I just want to say, just to be clear, that I first lost my weight, and then I went to therapist.
Yeah.
It's completely the wrong way
That's
around.
no, it's not the wrong way around. And I think what I need to say there, there's not a right or wrong way. You
Yes,
know,
so many people have told me
it's
that, but
yeah, it is what worked for you and what was right for you. And I really think you're an amazing inspiration. And can you give people who want to get together with you, can you give them, maybe write in the comments below in the Kickstarter or on the video now, quickly tell them your contact details so that they um, can contact you. That would be
okay,
great.
I will do that when we're done. Thank you,
Okay.
Chris.
Thank you. Thanks, Mart-Mari. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.